Now, a lot of people go through to our website and book in roof inspections. And then afterwards, we often get the question, hey, is the roof inspection free? And I must admit that very often we give the incorrect answer. And that incorrect answer is, yes, our roof inspections are free. Now, why do I say that we always give the incorrect answer? Well, I often get asked the question, they say to me, listen, you spend a lot of time, you drive out to us, and you use your expertise, and you do a roof inspection. So how can you make money if it's free? Well, that's a good observation, I say to them. In fact, the roof inspection isn't free. Because as most of our clients, and perhaps you realize, is that it does cost a lot to actually do a roof inspection. So if we were to answer, yes, your roof inspection is free, we're in fact lying. So we kind of have to slap ourselves. The roof inspection isn't free, but we don't charge you for it. That's what we should say. Our roof inspections aren't free, but we don't charge you. Then you may ask, well, if we don't charge, how do you survive? How do you make money? Well, that's a good question. How do we make money? How is money made? Now, that's an interesting question because money isn't made in the mint. Because physically, the $100 bills that you get, which is in fact made, represent a tiny proportion of the money that's around, because that's not real money. Money isn't printed. So how is money made? Well, it's a concept that was very difficult for me to grasp. So let's kind of make it a little bit simple so that a dummy like me can kind of understand. Now, how is money made? Well, the simplest way to put it is that money is made by a promise. As soon as you make a promise, you make money. Well, how so? Well, let's take example of a house. So a lot of people understand real estate and housing. So if you were to buy a house for $1 million, and most of us don't have $1 million spare cash to lug around and buy a house for $1 million. So what we do, we go to the bank and we say, Mr. Banker, I've got a deposit here. I've got $200,000. Can I borrow $800,000? And the banker would look at your credentials and they look at your income and they would say, okay, based on our assessment, we'll lend you $800,000. Now, as soon as the bank says they will lend you $800,000, the bank have magically materialized $800,000. It wasn't there before. And as soon as you said, I want $800,000, it just makes it up and it gives it to you. Here, Mr. Buyer, you've got $800,000. That is how money is made. Not printed in the mint. The bank just says, I think you're worth $800,000. That's your promise to me that you're paid back. So I'll just materialize $800,000 and I'll lend it to you. And over time, you pay me back. So that's how the financial system works. That's how money works. That's how money is made. Banks make the money, and the government, the Reserve Bank, does the same thing. It just says, Mr. Banker, you want some money? We are the Reserve Bank. We will give you that money, and on the proviso that over time you'll pay us back. So everything is based on a promise. So with a promise, you make money. Quite simple. And it's got to be simple because otherwise I don't understand it. So now that we know how money is made, we are back to the question of, we do roof inspections, we don't charge you for it, and how do we make money? And if you followed me so far, we make money because of the promise. And what is this promise? Well, the reason we do a roof inspection is that there is a problem. So there's a problem to be solved. So we have to do the roof inspection so we can figure out what exactly the problem is and what the solution is. And then we create a solution. And we put that solution down on paper and out pops a figure, our quote, right? It says it's going to cost you so much to get your problem resolved. And that's our promise to you, that we'll fix your problem for X amount of dollars. And immediately we have created X amount of dollars. We've created that amount of money out of thin air. So much like your local bank is a money-making machine because they will lend you the money, they will create the money to give it to you, when we do a roof inspection, we are a bit of a money-making machine because we create a solution that you want and we put a price on it. So immediately we create that much money. And that's how we make our money, right? So that's how the system works. Because if you are new to business and you don't know how it works, it's like you are new to the financial game and you think, money, how do I make money? Well, I go to a printer and I print money, right? And I go to a coin maker and I make coins. So the mint actually makes the money. But no, the mint doesn't make the money. Now, just a quick interlude here to confirm my claim that the bank just makes money out of thin air. And how do we do that? We go and ask ChatGPT, the AI. And so I've asked Chat a question, and let's look at what it says. And it confirms that the money is mostly created. There's no stacks of money in the bank anywhere. So just as it says, there's no physical cash changes hands when you go and get a loan for $1 million. It's all electronic, so it doesn't need to be printed by the mint. There's actually no $100 bill that changes hands. So does bank just make money out of thin air? Well, kind of, the AI says. So yes, they make $1 million out of a new deposit. And the thing is that once you borrow $1 million, you actually create $1 million in the economy. So you're actually helping the economy here when you actually borrow money to buy a house. And AI can do anything. So it can actually create you a diagram about how this money is made and what happens when the loan is repaid. So I'm not actually talking rubbish when I'm telling you that the bank literally creates money out of thin air. Just like in our situation in the roof repair business, we don't make the money when we do a roof inspection. And that's the reason why we don't charge you for it. Even though it is not free, it's actually expensive to do a roof inspection. Because we as business people, we know that the money is made when we come up and we create a solution to a problem. So we'll do a quote and we'll present you with our proposal. And if you agree and give us that amount of money, we'll provide you with that solution. And just to think that for decades and decades, I just didn't know how money was made. Until I finally realized that money is just a promise. It's made on a promise. That's all it is. You just make it up.